it's Dr. Toya here, and welcome to the By Default Highlight Reel, where we highlight our business owners by bringing you videos and interviews so that they can tell their stories in their own words. Please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more episodes. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Toya, and I am joined by Dr. Monique Williams, the Executive Director of the Heir+Loom Foundation. Welcome, Dr. Monique.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to have you here so we can get right into it. Please tell our viewers a little bit more about you.
So I'm Dr. Monique. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I graduated from undergrad at Howard University in 2004. Yay! I also am a graduate of Duke University, where I received my Master's of Divinity, and a graduate of Creighton University in Omaha, where I received my EDD in leadership, and my focus was on resiliency, community resiliency. So I've been around academically and have enjoyed the entire journey.
Oh, wow. Good. So tell me what made you get into, starting this foundation. Tell us a little bit more about the background.
Absolutely. So the Heirloom Foundation, I want to say came out of nowhere, but nothing comes out of nowhere.
Right.
During the pandemic, the only place that we could go safely, my family and I could go safely to just kind of be outside and to feel free from, all things COVID,
Right.
was the country. So my grandfather owns about 20 acres of land near College Station, Texas. And that was where we went. We went to this land. We were able to kind of be outside. We got a couple of cows, but mostly lots of air, right? Lots of air and trees and very little human contact.
Right.
So while I was out there visiting several times, my grandfather and I had a good conversation, a couple of conversations about the land and what we would do with the land once he was gone. It's a tough dialogue to have, but necessary. And I was glad he kind of brought it up. And so I didn't have an exact plan, but I could promise him that we would secure the land, ensure that it was always in our family, that we would resource this land and come up with something beneficial, not only for us, our family, but for the community. So I made that very kind of broad strokes promise. And that's where the Heir+Loom Foundation came from. The idea was that we would use this foundation to resource the land. We do have our family house on the land and all kinds of, just knickknacks, but it's not really developed like it used to be. So I want to develop it. I want to grow on it again. I want to invite people into that space, but that takes money and resources. So the foundation was started for that. Gotcha. We wanted to get those resources. We wanted to, collect all that we could and try to build on that space. So the concept is growing. I'm watching it grow as I do research and I look into things like food insecurity in urban areas. I look into things like conserving land, and I don't know how big this is going to be, but I'm ready for it. And I've got a team of people, friends and family who are supporting me in ways I couldn't have imagined. So that's a little bit about where we began.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you mentioned it's not as developed as it used to be. How was it before? What kinds of things used to be on the land?
So my grandfather is 91, and I think that he stopped cultivating the land in his 80s, like always extremely active, always moving, always growing something. And he has the touch. He could grow zucchini like this big with no true effort. At least it didn't look like any effort on from my side, but he has just a sixth sense about these things and about the land. So he just grew a lot of like cabbage and vegetables, and didn't grow it to produce anything. I mean, to actually make any money. He just grew it to eat. Right? Just for the community, just for us, just for Thanksgiving. And so it was mostly that. We had a little bit of, we had a couple of animals, but always cows. I remember that from my childhood. Never really liked horses and all of that because my
Yeah.
grandmother said, if you're going to own a farm and you own animals, you will never be able to leave that land because animals take a lot of work. So we have two ponds and we've had fish, so I'd like dig out those ponds again, place more fish in there. And then when we create a garden, we can invite people to come in and fish and be in that space as well.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So it's not just for your family, but the community.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like a lot of people value land the way it used to be valued.
Yeah.
And it would be wonderful to bring in children from schools, whether they're being homeschooled or in public
Mhm.
schools, and let them come out and put their hands in some dirt,
Yes.
right? And play and discover. Allow people who are differently abled and who generally don't have a space to just kind of be free to be able to put their hands in the dirt, right?
Yeah.
And to make mistakes and still see how the land gives back. I
Yeah.
think there's healing in that, and I'd love to provide that for anybody who feels the need to be in a healing space.
Yeah, and that is so important. And it's part of how I grew up. I was blessed to live right next to a park,
Ah,
and they had us outside, meeting my parents, every weekend,
yes,
digging. And, even as when I was too young to help, I was
yes,
out there,
yes,
we didn't have a choice.
yes,
So,
yes.
and it's an experience that I would not trade for anything. So I think that is really, really wonderful that you are, providing that for your community.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
And, it's important too because in Texas, I'm sure there's lots of space,
Hmm.
but I feel like people, when you get caught up in this life, you can
Yeah,
be living around how much of a space and you still don't get outside, you still don't
that's
do much.
that's right.
So I think it will be an excellent resource. And then hopefully to inspire places that are a little bit more urban, just
Yeah,
to cultivate their green spaces.
right.
Yeah. So, I know the importance of like community gardens and things like
Mhm,
that to
mhm.
help with, food deserts and things.
Yes.
So this is exciting work that you're doing, and thank you for doing
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. I just believe that if we're going to create spaces, they need to be intentional.
Hmm.
That we need to always use these spaces for education in some way, always use these spaces for healing in some way, because our community could always use more education about ourselves
Yeah.
and healing from, I think, shared traumatic experiences that I mean, every day, every day.
Yeah.
Racism is not going away anytime soon.
No.
And the violence of it seems to be climbing daily. And so for us to have some refuge from
Yeah.
all of that could just, I think it can make a difference. And so I'm hoping, confidently hoping that
Mhm.
we can just contribute in that way. And I'm not going to say small way, in that
Right.
impactful way
Right.
for our community in time.
Yes. Yeah. So, I ask everyone that comes on this show, what does it mean to you to be a Black, I don't know if I want to call you a farmer, but
Yeah.
a Black woman
Hey,
in the agriculture space?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
It means that I can usher people back to a space that was inherently ours.
Yes.
I think because of enslavement,
Mhm.
the history of enslavement, the idea of being on land and working land has been completely overshadowed, right? I don't want to use my hands.
Right.
I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an
Right.
engineer. But that is not a disgraceful thing to be able
Mhm.
to plant and to create. And so I want to lead people back to what was already ours. We have a connection to the land. Our ancestors, who are not that far away, we say ancestors as if they're hundreds and
Right.
thousands of years away. Our ancestors that we are currently beginning to lose in our generation had their hands in the land and provided for us and fed us and clothed us because of their knowledge and connection to that space.
Right.
And so I want to be an usher us back to that space and reclaim that space, just as we're reclaiming our time and
Yes.
reclaiming the work that we're doing in this land. I want to recreate and reclaim those spaces for us because they're important to our healing.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful what you said about our ancestors, cultivating the land.
Yes.
And I always like to think about enslavement as an interruption of
Yes.
our history, right? We had many, many years before that of
Mhm.
existence and
Yes.
thriving. And
Yes.
this country was built, and my country, and, you
Yes.
know, because our ancestors were able to take their knowledge
Yes.
from the motherland and bring it
Mhm.
here and thrive. They could not have done it without us and without them. So
Absolutely.
it is, like you said, this land is ours. This
That's
is
right.
this is what we were meant to do. So
That's right.
I think that is this project is really wonderful, and I hope it ends up being everything that you really envision, and even more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
You're
thank
welcome.
you for creating space for us to kind of collect all of these great things that we're doing in one space and share. Because I think our community has always operated in a way that we believe there's not enough, right? There's not enough money to go around. There's not enough
Right.
space. There's not enough resources, but there's more than enough.
Yes.
And it's time that we share this abundance. And I
Mhm.
think that by default, is part of the sharing in that abundance. And I hope for you as well to have success beyond your imagination.
Oh, thank you so much. And I really try to operate from a place of abundance, because
Yes,
you're right. There is definitely enough.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. And we will continue to grow as a community, and I am excited to see what's in store.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
am too.
Yes. So tell our viewers, where can they find you? Where can they support the Heirloom Foundation?
Okay. So the Heirloom Foundation is in the process of becoming a 501c3. We should hear back very soon regarding
Mhm.
that. So we do have, and I post this in IG. So let's start there. At the Heirloom Foundation for IG, the Heirloom Foundation on Facebook, the Heirloom Foundation on LinkedIn, and www.theheirloomfund.org. And every one of those spaces will have some kind of link to where there can be financial support. But more than that, right now, just come and follow us and follow our journey. Help us to build our fellowship on IG. We are currently doing a series called In My Nature, where we are exploring how we uniquely utilize nature, natural spaces, natural practices in order to process our trauma, our very specific trauma in our community. And it has been an absolutely amazing space. And we want people to be a part of that and to feed into that. So coming to those events online, giving financially, and also helping us to spread the word and build our following. That would be wonderful.
Yes, and one other place you can find them is on bydefault.com. Yes.
Yes.
So she is one of our wonderful members of the By Default Business Tribe. And like I said, there are so many different types of organizations and businesses that will be listed, because we are not a monolith. We need
Yeah.
different things. And there are so many different things you could be interested in and you want to support. So I want to bring them all together for you and for us, so that we can live our best lives.
That's
Okay.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
So that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us again, Dr. Monique. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
All right, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.